Smash that limiter! Sorry about that. I was having a bit of issues there. Give me a sec. All right, can you hear me now, Spliffy?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, Secret Trader. How's it going?
Everyone.
Sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties, not with the computer, actually, for once. It was actually the webcam.
Wow.
The webcam was fucking up. So
What?
I had to lower the. Let's change this settings. Hang on. Let's change to warm light. That's better. Yeah, the webcam was like all fuzzy and shit, so I just changed it all. All right, so how's your week been, Spliffy?
This week has been actually pretty good. Just pretty stock standard week. Just go around, do random stuff, and then punch hole in wall and put speaker in hole.
Oh, I like that.
That's basically what my week has been. Has your and also evolve back into monkey, according to Ray. How's your week been?
Evolve back into monkey. My week's been pretty good. I got my PC case today. Mm-hmm. So some of you probably know I've been currently very, very slowly working towards building a new PC, a desktop PC, and I've got the fans. I'm having a total of 14 fans in my case, so it's going to be a beast of a fucking wind blower. I will show you the case. So that's the case there next to my parents' dog Nugget, who is not impressed because I didn't have any food for him. So he can fit inside that case. So it's a pretty big case, and you can see why it's going to have 14 fans in it. It's the brand new O11 Dynamic Evo XL. It is a beast of a case, and I'm excited to build in it because I will not have to fight wire management, so it's going to be great. And it is going to be water cooled as well, but not custom loop. It's going to be AIO. I'm just in the process of saving money for CPU, motherboard, GPU, and RAM, and AIO cooler as well. I'm still on the fence of what fucking. Actually, no. I've just decided today that I'm going AMD. I'm going to go the Ryzen 7000 series. What I'm going to do, and I advise these people who are thinking about buying it. Okay, so the new 8000 series of Ryzen Spliffy is coming out next year. It's second quarter of the year, and it's going to be fucking big. AMD have finally decided to go, you know what, Intel, we're going to try and be competitive as we can. They're going to triple.
I think they did that in 2016.
Well, they did, but they're going to up their game even more. So they're doubling and tripling their core counts. So, like the Ryzen 5, which currently has, I think Ryzen 5 has 6 cores or 4 cores. I can't remember actually.
No, the Ryzen 5 ought to have 6 cores. Yeah, I'm sure they have 6 cores.
I don't know how many
Trader. That's the face of the AMD PC CPU engineer trying to fit as many cores into a single die as they can.
6 cores, yeah. Ryzen 5 6 cores. So that's going to be 8. I'm pretty sure the new 8000 series.
Oh wow!
And then everything from Ryzen 5 up to 7 is going to double or triple to the point where the Ryzen 9 8950X is going to have 32 cores.
Far out.
So it's going to be a beast of a machine. Basically, I think what they're going for is, you remember the Threadripper?
Yes, I do remember the Threadripper.
Yeah, Trader, but you got Intel, so that 14 cores only. What's 14 divided by 2? 7.
You okay?
Yeah, because Intel has 8 efficiency cores and 8 proficiency cores, I think. Anyway, fucking
right. So like performance and efficiency cores.
So
I don't like. What's the difference between that and just in hyperthreading?
Hyperthreading is more effective.
Well, then why the hell do they downgrade their CPUs?
Yeah. So funny thing, the reason why AM5 don't get 14th gen trader to trap. So AM5 has issues because the motherboard manufacturers is what causing issues. So a lot of people have had issues at AM5 because the motherboards have malfunctioned in one way or another. The CPU, there's nothing wrong with the CPU. The CPU is fine. So Ryzen 9s are Ryzen CPUs are actually the best gaming CPU on the market, hands down. Especially their 3Ds, because the 3Ds offer that cache, which is a lot faster than. So, for example, the Ryzen 7800X 3D is the fastest gaming CPU, beats the Intel i9 and everything. The thing that falls back on Ryzen is when it comes to production. So streamers and stuff like that don't like Ryzen because they're not as good as the multitasking as Intel is at the moment, because of like traders i5's got 14 cores. Technically speaking, though, it's only it's divided by half. So the 14 cores aren't actually true 14 cores because each core just does a job differently. They don't all they work with each other. So you got efficiency cores and you got proficiency cores. So P cores work on high workloads, and then E cores work on small tasks. So it sort of tries to speed up the process, but it doesn't always work.
What the hell determines a task and a half task?
I don't know. They have their own fucking architecture that they write to do it. But put it this way, in terms of like per core speed, AMD's always faster. And also AMD runs smoother on Windows 11 for some reason. It's actually, when it runs, it's really stable.
Oh yeah, when you can get it to run, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like neither here or there, really.
Yeah. That's the motherboard manufacturers, because this. So you remember when the 3Ds came out and they were blowing up?
No, I don't remember this.
So when the AMD's 3D cores came out, they started melting the dies. Okay, and this is a particular problem with ASUS. Now, the reason why, and ASUS is the biggest problem with this. Okay, so
I remember that happening. Yeah.
So what happens is this goes for Intel as well. Intel has the exact same issues with motherboards. So Intel and AMD have a specification that is the voltage limit that they recommend to work within their CPUs, right? So their maximum power output or input, I should say.
How much in the guts the motherboard is going to give to the CPU?
Exactly. So they say
it'll blow it up.
Yeah, this is the power that it should be. That's recommended. Motherboard manufacturers, particularly ASUS, go, nah, fuck it. We'll just we'll just do what our standards. So their voltage limit is a lot higher than what the CPU's recommendation is. That's why the 3Ds melted, because ASUS motherboards basically fucking dump mass amount of voltage, allow mass amount of voltage to be drawn, because electricity is drawn, not put. Like it's pulled, not pushed, essentially. So electricity is drawn. If you have something plugged in, and the appliance isn't turned on, electricity doesn't come through the wire. It only comes through when it's drawn. Right? That's how electricity works. So correct. So the motherboards will basically just allow it to draw as much energy as possible to try and get as much output as possible with the CPUs. Unfortunately, the 3Ds couldn't handle the voltage that the X's can, which is true. A Ryzen 7000X CPU draws a lot more power than the 3D, because it's actually got a higher base clock speed than the 3Ds. There's a reason for that, though. And so they were melting. And this is also the reason why 13th and 12th gen Intels run so fucking hot. That's why if you have a Intel i7 onwards of 13th or 12th gen, I would not recommend going air cooling unless you have a Noctua air cooler or big fucking those big ass tower things with multi stacks. Wouldn't recommend anything other than them because the amount of power those fuckers produce is ridiculous because the motherboard manufacturer is like, let's just remove all the limits and allow the CPU to just take as much power as it possibly can. And so that's why they get so friggin' hot. So that's why I recommend to use an AIO instead of air cooling when it comes to the 13th or 12th gen i7 onwards, because you need that thermal capacity to be able to handle the heat. Otherwise, you run into some thermal throttling and your CPU will nowhere near last as long.
That's just to start with. If your CPU actually lasts the turning on.
Well, it will. 13th and 12th gen is a lot more stable in terms of booting than AMD. Right. But AMD's kind of fixed a lot of the problems, so that's why I'm kind of going AMD. I also would like to go AMD graphics card, but with, as I was saying to you before, the problem with AMD graphics card is they're behind in terms of their video encoding and all that sort of stuff. So it's the only reason why it sort of holds a lot of people back. But in terms of like raw rasterization, I butchered that word.
Rasterization is just a really difficult word to pronounce.
It is. It is so much better than fucking NVIDIA. Way better than NVIDIA. Like, put it this way: the 79 XT is on par with a 4080, even though its equivalent is supposed to be a 4070.
Right.
It has 20 gig VRAM, which is really handy for 4K gaming. And then you've got the 79 XTX, which is 24 gig VRAM, and that's like beats the 4080 on a lot of titles, excluding DLSS and ray tracing and all that sort of stuff. I'm not really a fan of I'm not really a fan of ray tracing. DLSS is kind of good if you have, say, you got 60 frames on a title, which with these new generations GPUs
becoming more and more standard, which I'm excited about because I quite like 60 FPS. And if it means my hardware, it doesn't. It's not quite so taxing on my hardware. That just makes it more exciting because then I just don't have to worry about it.
So the thing is, on these GPUs, you're very unlikely going to get 60 frames unless you're running in 4K. But not everybody runs in 4K. So like this is the thing. Neither do I, even though I have a 4K TV. This is a thing that
take a shot every time Hunter mentions his 4K TV.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's cheaper. It's way cheaper to get a 4K TV than a 1080p TV because they don't make them. So, you made me lose my track. Where the fuck was I going with this one? Oh yeah, so
you were mentioning your 4K TV.
Say you're Say you're running 4K on a AAA title, right? And you're only running about 60 frames. This is where DLSS comes into, or DSL, whatever the fucking acronyms, I always forget it. This is where this comes in handy. So you got 60 frames, you turn that on, it will then bump up your frame rate, say 70 to 80. Or maybe you got 50 frames and you want to go up to 60 and you turn it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what it does, it makes frames.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an algorithm that makes frames.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly the way it works, but it's kind of like it makes frames. That's all I know.
It makes frames.
It makes frame rates.
It makes frames.
Yeah, it try and sort of pre-makes frames before the GPU has to calculate it, so then that way it's more smooth transitions.
Right.
I think that's kind of like the way it works. You would have to look it up. I'm not 100% sure. I did know it, but I've forgotten at this stage. AMD's got their own as well, but yeah. But I can't wait to build. In this case, the fans I'm going with are the Uni fans, the Lee & Lee's Unifan Infinities, so they look really pretty. And it's going to be an all-white build. For my GPU, though, I regretfully am not getting AMD, even though I would like AMD because of the price. I am going to go for a 4080 Strix because it's a white graphics card, and that's the only reason why.
Oh my god. Actually, here's a fun. I don't know. I'm still up in the air as if I make my next build AMD because it'll probably be in about 5 years' time when I decide to go.
Yeah.
I'd like to go AMD because I haven't confirmed it, but I've read online that Nvidia's drivers mess around with your audio.
Yes, they do.
So I've been thinking like, if I get AMD CPU and AMD graphics card, it means that my audio will probably run better, which is something I'd always be excited for.
Yeah, the 40 series has been fucking with people's audio. I've heard that.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know what GPU I'm definitely not getting, even though I'm probably not going to upgrade until I upgrade the entire damn computer.
See, I don't even want the 4000 series GPUs because they're shit. And the reason why they're shit is because they catch on fire.
Yes, that is true. Everything that catches fire is shit.
That high-powered connector that they thought of. You know what's really, this is really fucking funny, right? So, did you know that in the development of this high-powered fucking 12-volt adapter that they have, the pigtail one, that's known to catch on fire,
right?
Anyway, so that was developed with Intel, Nvidia, AMD, and there was another cable manufacturer was involved in it, right?
Yeah.
So Nvidia adopted this stupid piece of shit 12-volt power thing, right?
Yeah.
But when Intel came out with their GPUs, they did not have it. They didn't trust it. And apparently, word got out that during the testing of it, a lot of electrical engineers said that this is actually unsafe. Having this amount of watts going through this single little fucking power connector is not safe.
Oh yeah, because there is a limit. There's a heat in cables.
Yeah, it gets hot.
Heat dissipation is actually a thing. So the thinner the wire, the less heat dissipation it has, and if it doesn't have the right surface area on the copper cables, then it will literally, the cables will catch fire and explode.
So like there was an argument for a while that people hadn't connected it in properly, right? Or the bend was too too tight, therefore like the pins out, right? And it didn't get good connection. So
that's not what causes cables to catch fire.
So people are arguing that, right? And some cases, yes, they did find that, and they were able to replicate the burning because what was happening was the pins had been pulled out and they were arcing between each other. And Debauer,
how is it able to do that? Why do they not have complete disconnect?
Because
why aren't they completely disconnected from each other?
Because they're having 400 watts run through them. 4090s draw like 400 watts. That's a lot of power.
Holy crap, that's too much. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, didn't you know that? Because
they're not very far from each other, so you'll actually develop at least a little bit of capacitance, which is what that arcing is.
Yeah, so they draw a lot of power. So so that's what was happening. But funnily enough, it still happens even to this fucking day, and people gone, no, motherfucker, I did check it. It was 100% in there connected. And some people like, no, I had a cable mod cable, which fixes that problem because cable mod, being the cool people that they are, they came out with a product that fixes the issue. And even that caught on fire. And they're like, it's not cable mod's fault. And cable mod, the legends they are, actually replaced his graphics card.
Wow, holy crap.
Yeah, because they're so adamant about their product that if it fails because of their product, they will replace the graphics card. And so he was obviously like really, really nice to them, and they were nice back when they replaced his graphics card and whatnot. And Cable Mod ended up taking the graphics card because they want to learn what happened. And they were saying, yeah, it's a 12-volt power system. It's too much power running for such a small little fucking cable. and that's what's causing the issues. Too much heat. And so hopefully
actually,
the new generation of graphics card, they scrap it because
so
it's just a dumb cable.
there's a 12 volts. The current, so power is 400, and then the 12 volts squared. So 400 divided by
because you got to
24.
remember on
So it's about 16 amps.
Yeah,
it's 16 amps of current going through it.
Yeah, and you got to remember the 4090 comes with a 4-to-1 adapter. So it takes 4 PCIe 8-pin adapters, and it joins to one
that's
I think 8-pin. It's 8 or 12 pin. Maybe 8 or 12 pin connector onto the graphics card. So 4 fucking power adapters run to one.
That's no, because then oh my fucking god, what are they thinking?
Stupid. It's so stupid.
But 16 amps. Like, okay, so you know like how you go outside and you flip the breaker?
Yeah.
That flips and breaks at 10 amps.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how much power graphics.
This is literally like this is too much power for a freaking computer.
Well, that's why because you've also got like the 79 XTX runs. Oh, how much power does that fucking draw? It says that it draws like 200 watts, but it spikes a lot more than that sometimes. I reckon it can spike up to 400 or something like that.
I'm sorry, Ray. I'm very passionate about electricity. I love electricity. I also don't like it when people abuse it.
Because that's why
this is blatant abuse.
So they say that the RTX 79 XTX draws about 104 watts, which is nothing compared to 4090. However, it can spike every now and then.
Define spike. What kind of voltage spikes are we talking about here?
Oh, a couple of hundred.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. GPUs can be like, people don't realize. Okay, so rule of thumb when it comes to speccing out your power supply with your computer, you should always spec out about 200 watts more than needed, because GPUs can fluctuate a lot. Even though so say for example, the manufacturer says that it's a 100-watt draw. Unfortunately, with the silicon lottery, as everyone knows, every single graphics and CPU acts differently to one another because of silicon lottery. It's just the variation in creating the dies is just so drastically different in just one fucking wafer. Like some GPUs use more power than others. Some are more efficient. Some can overclock more. Some are just fucking shit and they're binned. They get thrown out. That's why GPUs and CPUs are so costly to manufacturers, because you can have a whole wafer and you cut up all your different dies and only, 3% of those are actually useful. Especially when they go into their 3 nanometer dies at the moment. So,
are they going to 3 nanometer?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Wow, holy crap, that's really thin.
It is, and it's going to be really expensive because the failure rate's a lot higher.
Yeah.
But the efficiency is going to be amazing, though.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, but I mean, how reliable is 3 nanometer going to be if it's failing that often?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not that expertised in how it's manufactured and that to really understand.
These are just questions I have for someone who may know the answers. Like, okay, so if your fail rate is so high in the workshop, let's just say that there's one chip passes with flying colors, but then by the time it gets to the customer. And somewhere along the lines, it's sort of cracked or done whatnot. How often is that going to happen? What issues are it going to cause?
So
those are the questions I have.
On idle, it's about 30 to 40 watt for the 79 XTX.
Right.
The 4090 is 15 to 20 watt on idle, but the 4090 spikes a lot more. So I don't know. It's hard because there's too many fucking different variations between them. I don't know.
Yeah.
All I know is if you're going to have, say, for example, a Ryzen 9 CPU and a 79 XTX or a 4080 up to a 4090, I would recommend nothing below 1,000 watt power supply for safety reasons. Because the higher your power supply, the more efficient it is and the less power it's going to use. So
I don't know about that one.
No, that is true. That is true. If you have a but your use case trader is efficient at 850. I would get an 850 with what you've got it paired with. Okay, so for example, just because you have 1,000 watt spliffy doesn't mean it's going to be producing 1,000 watts. 1,000.
Yeah, no,
watts,
I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm saying that's what the voltage. That's what the voltage and wattage rails determine.
Yeah. So if for example you got 1,000 watt, that's overkill, and the draws 200 watt.
Yeah.
How much more efficient is 1,000 watt power supply going to be at drawing, giving 200 watts, and how much cooler is it going to be? So therefore, it's going to produce it's going to be more efficient because it's going to be cooler because it doesn't heat up as much because it's not working very hard, and et cetera, et cetera.
Is it okay?
That's what I'm going.
Wattage. Wattage is in heat wattage or heat watts or electrical watts.
Both. Because so say for example, you have a power supply that is close to your draw rate, so you've only got a headroom of say 50 watts. It's working really hard to produce those voltage, and so therefore it gets hot, right? And therefore it becomes less efficient, correct? Because heat makes things less efficient, especially when it comes to electricity.
No, heat is the byproduct of something being less efficient.
Well, yeah, that's my point. And the hotter it gets, the less efficient to the point where it turns off because it's failing. So if you go say 200 watts over that, and then it doesn't have to work as hard, and therefore it's all good. So yeah, for those high-end graphics cards and CPUs, I would recommend 1,000 watts minimum. That's all I'm saying. So then that way, if it spikes, you've got the headroom and it's fine. It won't shut off. Because I've heard some people with an 850 watt power supply and they've got a Ryzen, so they've got an Intel i9 paired with a 79 XTX, and they're running 7,000 megabytes per second DDR5. They got an AIO, and they got fucking shitload of fans and all that sort of stuff. They were saying that fucking their 850 power supply wouldn't even let them turn the computer on anymore. It just kept breaking. the breaker just kept going off. And he's like, I don't understand. PC Part Picker said that I only need an 850 watt power supply because it's only drawing 700 watts. And people like, have you taken consideration spikes? And he's like, what do you mean spikes? And they're like, well, sometimes the CPU will just spike randomly. It's like when it's thinking and it gets lost in thought and then suddenly remembers where it is. It just suddenly just fucking spikes. And they're like, oh, I don't know how it happens. And then like a week later, he updates his Reddit post with, I got a 1,200 watts power supply. My computer's running like gold now. So that was the problem. He had too low of a power supply for his use case. So same with cars. There's a little bit information dump for you, Spliffy. Pajeros came out. Not Pajeros, Patrols. Nissan Patrols.
Right.
Came out with a 4-cylinder petrol motor.
Yeah.
Do you see the problem with that?
No, I don't. But...
Okay, so a Patrol is a very heavy car. It's a big car.
Okay.
And
now I understand.
They put a 3-liter 4-cylinder motor in it.
Yeah.
You can imagine what happened. Those motors all died.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got, I suppose if my argument when this is purely just purely theoretical based on how much I like gearboxes.
Yeah.
If you put like a gearbox in it, then
it won't. It won't work. No matter how many gear ratios you have, if this is a capacity thing. If your motor is not capable of pulling because it's got low torque because it's a 4-cylinder petrol, if it's not capable of pulling the weight of the vehicle, and in the 90s, this was a real big problem. Coincidentally, the car that I'm talking about is a 90s build.
Of course.
Yeah, so
behave microphone.
If the engine can't sustain the weight of the car, then it's just prone to failure, especially when you have weaknesses like this motor in particular has a shitty fuel pump. This same shitty fuel pump fails in every single make or model that it's put in. So when you add that to a motor that just can't pull such a heavy vehicle, it's just a recipe for disaster. And they fail left, right, and center to the point. Nissan had other same model but different motors in the same car. They had diesels and they had a bigger 6-cylinder petrol, I think, as well. Those motors worked fine. So what people were doing is I was swapping the 4-cylinder petrol, throwing it in the bin, and then putting the diesels in them mostly because the diesels are more popular. Or and they'll go full tilt and just put an LS V8 in it. So that always works. So yeah, there was quite a few cars that used to do that back in the day. My parents used to have this blue Mazda van.
Yeah.
And that was a 4-cylinder little tiny petrol motor. And it was so bad, man. Like, I remember as a kid, like, Dad would go down a hill and you could smell the brakes because the brakes weren't strong enough to hold the weight of the car. And this is like one of those vans with a sunroof, and it was a 12-seater, 12-seater, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, an 8-seater. So I had a backpack. So
one of those ones.
It was really cool because the seats could also fold around as well, so you can fold them around so you can look at each other in the back. Yeah, it was kind of cool. And then you could fold all the seats and they're perfectly flat, so it was made a massive bed as well. It was kind of like a cool design van, but just the motor was a heap of shit. And there was a few times where we couldn't get up hills. So we'll run up the hill and we'll go full tilt running up the hill and we'll get to the top and go, it couldn't go any higher. First gear on the top of the hill, just couldn't climb the hill.
No.
Yeah, the van was fucking a heap of shit.
It's like all of its budget was put into its looks.
We were crossing the Nullarbor in it, and the fan belt went on it, and I mean that was back in the day when it didn't electronics weren't a thing. Like the van was carbureted, not fuel injected, and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
So we just drove with no lights on because it was the auxiliary belt that went, so there was no lights and stuff like that. So, and I think the the water pump as well was on that same line, so you had to go really slow, and yeah, it was a heap of shit. Another 90s built car that motor too small for the size of the body. So yeah. Am I coming back through your mic? Was that me?
No, that's you.
It's me.
I can hear me through your headphones because your headphones are up so bloody loud.
Yeah, I'm a deaf cunt.
What? What was that?
You heard me.
Huh?
I've turned it down so that way it won't be so bad.
Yeah, it's not bleeding.
Yeah.
No, my 4-cylinder car's going just fine. Recently had a service, no major issues or anything like that.
I found it.
What?
I found the van.
You found the van?
Yeah.
Give it a look.
Alright, so this is the van that we used to have. It's one of these bad boys.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh!
No.
Ignore that roof part, but it was all blue and there was a sunroof there. And then there were windows there, obviously. But yeah, that was the van. That's the exact same model van that it was.
Is that a Ford?
Mazda.
Yep. Oh, okay. That still makes sense.
Mazda. They're really fucking heavy. I think they're about 3 ton or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
heavy.
wow.
They're a heavy van.
That's really heavy for a vehicle.
Yeah, that's definitely it. There we go. That's it without the weird top thing. It's even got the sunroof in that one. Yeah, 1990 van. That's a minivan. How's that a minivan though? Look how big
that is a full blown van.
That's
a
not a full-blown
minivan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like,
I guess minivan was a very marketable word back in the 90s.
Yeah, fucking minivan, my ass. But yeah, so it used to. Here we go. Here's a good picture. So this is pretty much exactly what it looked like. Obviously, minus a spoiler. So you had 3 seats there and then 3 seats back there. And then these seats here can also flip around so that way they can face there. And they also, all seats lay down flat and make basically a giant bed in them.
I don't know how safe that is.
Oh man, that's what the interior did look like. I remember used to listening to fucking play school sing-alongs on that fucking thing on the old tape deck. Jesus, this brings back memories. Yeah, it had electric windows as well, but they were shit. They didn't work half the time. The aircon didn't work either. That's typical for 90s. When we were crossing the Nullarbor as well, I remember the dog was sick and fucking vomited in the back with us.
Ew.
Oh, that stunk. Oh, that brings back some memories. Good old memories. What about you? Have you got any good like road tripping memories with your family?
Off the top of my head, a good friend of mine and my nan and granddad were going. We went to Questacon, and nan she brought a book with us, which was like a trivia book.
Yeah,
and she'd just be asking us questions, and then we just answer it. And half the time we get them wrong, the other half the time we get them right. I don't think I have anything that's sort of like, oh man, we were driving down the highway and then the car exploded. Jesus came back from the dead and we all became best friends. I don't have anything like that. It's very just stock standard road trip stories.
I've been all over Australia.
I have. I think I've been to Victoria and Queensland outside of my state. That's pretty much it.
So I'll bring up a map.
Oh, actually, this is a good time to ask. Has anyone in chat heard of a place in Victoria called Tittybong?
So very good. Is anyone in chat listening?
Well, we'll find out. I've asked the question if they've heard of Tittybong. Let me have a look at this.
Tittybong. All right. While the chat either listens or not, doesn't matter. I'll explain. All right. So, Spliffy.
Yes.
I'll show you where I have been the bins. So I have obviously been all through this state. I've been everywhere in the state. I've been everywhere in that state there in Victoria. I've been in majority of places in New South Wales, particularly along the coast. I've been up to here on Queensland. I haven't been top end yet. I would like to go. I've been obviously ACT. Haven't been to Tasmania. I'd really like to. And WA, I've explored all this area here.
Hell yeah.
I've never been up there. So the Nullarbor, for those aren't in Australia, is a road that starts around here and it goes around there and then it goes across there. It's one
Is it called Nullarbor?
The Nullarbor, because it's part of the Great Australian Bight sort of drive, and that is called the Nullarbor there. It is a very, 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 very long road. It takes 3 days constant driving to cross, but it takes you about a week if you're stopping. It's a very long drive. Very expensive too, because fuel's like through the roof traveling between there. But yeah, it's an awesome trip. I highly recommend people to do it once in their life. There's some beautiful spots up through there. There's heaps of caves up through here as well. I got to explore like a lot of this area, go through a lot of secluded beaches that no one's even been to. Um, got to see lots of different things. I've seen families of dingoes. I've seen a wedge-tailed eagle that was bigger than 6-year-old me. I've seen a wedge-tailed eagle kill a kangaroo. Yeah, it's heaps of cool stuff up through there. And then another really good drive is down here along the Great Ocean Road. Have you been on the Great Ocean Road, Spliffy, and seen like the 12 Apostles? Well, it's not 12 anymore, but
No,
so that's
I
another
haven't seen
beautiful
anything
drive.
like that.
Yeah, it's lovely. A real windy road, so those that get car sickness, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's beautiful. Beautiful road. You basically drive along the coastline of Victoria, essentially. And then up through here, you got the Otways, which is basically a temperate rainforest. So it's really beautiful up through there. And then also Lamington Ranges up in Queensland is really pretty up through this way up here somewhere. Can't see because it's just a road map. So yeah, I've traveled from here down there up there. Pretty crazy. Very long. That's like 3,500 k's from here to here.
It's like that behave microphone. It's like 3.5 weeks drive.
Yeah, it's massive. Australia's massive. People don't realize how big our country is.
It's enormous.
It really is. It's what's the width of the country?
A country that's, I think, the USA is
4,000.
actually comparative.
It's almost 4,000 kilometers from east to west.
Oh, like diameter-wise, or like lengthways-wise, or is that like
east to west?
Kilometers square.
It's just
east
traveling from east to west. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fucking huge. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the total like area is 34 218,000 kilometers. So coastline length's 35.821 kilometers. That's 35,000.
What would you say your favorite beach is?
Oh, I've been to heaps.
Which one was your favorite?
Definitely not the mainstream beaches. Like people go on about Gold Coast Surfers Paradise, and I don't really like it that much. Yeah, it's like beautiful in the sense of like it's a clean, flat, white beach. But the water's shit. Like it's really cold. Which is funny because it's Queensland, but it's actually really cold. Our waters are warmer, I think, in summer anyway. Winter's different because we get the Antarctic waters. There is this one beach, but it doesn't have a name.
The no-named beach.
It's on the Nullarbor.
Oh yeah,
it's really pretty because it's got blowholes and stuff like that, like off on the side, and it's got a lighthouse on top of it because it's got a lot of rocks and stuff like that, like ships and that to not crash into. But it's like an unmanned lighthouse. I don't know the name of it if it even has a name. I don't know if it actually has one. Because you're not supposed to get there. We walked there essentially.
All right.
Yeah, because
one of those secluded type beaches.
Yeah, it is. There was no one else there. Like, only locals would probably ever go there. We found it by accident. Yeah, it was gorgeous. Like sand dunes behind you, and completely open. There are reefs in it. Heaps of like razorfish, and used to get salmon runs through there, and yeah, it was Really, really pretty. Marion Bay is also pretty. Port Noarlunga's pretty. Uh, I reckon Fraser Island's beaches are gorgeous. Uh, yeah, there's lots. There's lots of places. Australia just has pretty beaches.
That is true.
We're really lucky that we're surrounded by water, but we have pretty beaches. Unlike England, they're
Which
surrounded
has
by water, and
neither. And it is surrounded by all the countries.
they're surrounded by like water, and it's just full of shit. So, so yeah, we are incredibly lucky in our country. The only downside is top end, the beaches you can't really go to in certain times of the year because you got box jellyfish, and then also you got crocodiles and sharks to contend as well. More so crocs than you do sharks, unless you get bull sharks in your area, then that would suck. But
yeah, that would suck because they just suck.
They'll eat you, yeah. But yeah. What about you?
Okay, so I've been to the Gold Coast. It was an alright beach.
It's not spectacular, is
Bondi. No, it's pretty stock standard actually.
Bondi was gross.
I think my favorite beaches are probably Wollongong.
Yeah, Wollongong's good. Yeah,
I'd say Wollongong. I think that's pretty much it because everywhere else is either just being there and they've been stock standard, or I think those are the only two beaches I've really yet been in my life because I don't like going anywhere near the water because that's where sharks are.
When you come and visit, I'll take you to my local beach.
Okay.
We can drive on one of them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we got two beaches you can drive on.
Oh, nice.
It's really good. You can just like pull up the car and set up a gazebo and sit on some chairs and just chill, go have a splash. Yeah, it's really nice.
Hell yeah.
The beach is pretty shallow too, so you can like walk out pretty far. Yeah. So I keep yawning. I'm really fucking tired. I mean that beach though, that beach that I'm talking about, it doesn't have port in the name.
Port nothing.
People have no. I just was thinking of a port for some reason. I don't know. It just came to my head. It was just
a Porto.
A Porto. That beach has had a few shark attacks over the years.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Funny. You can count me out. I think I'll just stay home.
That's all right. It's fine. You'll be with me.
You gonna jump in front of the shark?
No, I just make sure that you don't go deep enough. I'll like give you some floaties
on my ankles.
Mind you, though, everyone that's been bitten by a shark down there is because they were either spearfishing or they were surfing.
Right. Okay. Well, I won't go surfing then.
Yeah. Probably not recommended to do either of those if you're not comfortable
I don't
with sharks.
want to do either of those.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like surfing. I don't know why. I used to like do it a lot as a kid, but I just didn't like it. I think the reason why I didn't like it because one day I was on the kneeboard and I was doing surf lifesaving. And we're doing some drills where we had to like go out quickly, touch the buoy, and then come back like we're going out to rescue someone. And we had to surf in because it was pretty choppy that day. And I remember I was coming in, and for some reason I was the only one with the fiberglass kneeboard, which is quite heavy and big and bulky and long. Everyone else was on like training ones.
Yeah.
And anyway, and I was surfing in, and it was like fine until I had a double dunker come from behind. So like I was riding it on like a normal standard wave, but then we had a dumper wave, a double dunker. So what a double dunker is essentially one wave one after the other. So I was running wave in, and then there was a big wave behind me, and then a big wave behind that one, like immediately after. So what happened was it crashed on the back of my kneeboard, which flung the kneeboard up, which I took control, but then the other one hit it as well, and then the kneeboard came right back and fucking hit me straight in the head. After doing that, I didn't like doing it anymore.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, I'm not the type of person to get hurt and just keep going. I don't like getting hurt, so not a pussy. I'm just, I like to live long. Yeah. My family's not known to live long, so I'd like to live as long as possible.
I don't think that's gonna change, man.
I don't know. He's been fucking knocked out by a board or losing control or, crashing. Those simple little things can be avoided.
Didn't you used to do burnouts, though?
Yeah, I did one today, too.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
What? I had to...
You're concerned about not living so long, and yet you are doing...
die from burnout.
You can't say you have absolute control.
I have absolute control of burnout. Yes, I do.
That's not how it works.
It is how it is.
No, it's not.
It really is. Have you ever done a burnout?
No.
But then how would you know?
Because because you don't have 100% grip on the tires to the road.
So you're not going any, therefore there's no speed, therefore you're safe.
Shut up. There's no traction for steering.
I didn't mean to, and I've done this. I did it once on purpose, but today it wasn't on purpose. Basically, I went to go and I couldn't go because my car had bogged down. Because it's got traction control. It's called variable geometry control on my car. It's a fucking weird name. But anyway, it's traction control. So what happens is when I go from work, I'm on an incline like that, right? And there's lots of gravel on the road because trucks go in and out from a concrete place. So there's always shit on the road, so you never get any traction because the road's pretty much loose. And I went to go, and there was a fucking car coming, and it was a lot faster than I thought. But I would have been fine if I could just fucking go. But the problem was the car bogged down because traction control was having a hissy fit about the loose gravel. So it sort of cut power to my motor. So I couldn't go, so I had to stop and then roll back. Anyway, so what I did, I'm like, fuck this thing. This thing's just so annoying. So I turned it off. And then there was a car coming. And he was fine at first, but then as soon as he saw me, I watched him fucking do it, but he sped up. I'm like, fuck you, cunt. I'm not waiting ages. So I was just... So I dropped the clutch, foot down, car's spinning, and I'm accelerating at an exponential rate. So, yeah. I got in front of the car. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't hooning. I was getting in front of the car in a safe manner so he doesn't have to hit me. So yeah, it did wheel spin a bit, but I try and avoid that because I have full drive tires and they are very expensive at $250 a tire. So I don't particularly want to fucking bald them up because I'm doing burnouts. But I need to think of better ways to fucking do that turn in my car because it's just so fucking annoying. The way it just loses power.
Yeah.
Super annoying. I hate it. But, whatever. But it's not like this car's a Navara. It's a diesel. It's not going to spin out of control on me. It's not that powerful. If it was in my VS Commodore, fucking, I would be sideways around that corner. There'll be white smoke everywhere.
Driving a car sideways, I wouldn't refer to as safe, as you seem to be so adamantly
it's safe in my operations.
I don't know about that one, Chief.
I haven't crashed a car
yet.
Actually, no. I low speed collided with inanimate objects twice. Yes, twice. Twice.
There it is.
One, I didn't see it, and both times I'm not doing anything bad. I'm just parking or reversing out of a driveway. The first time was in the VS Commodore, where I was reversing out of a property that I turned in thinking it was a friend's workplace, but it wasn't. As I was reversing out, and I had some fucking in my ears with some chick that I was seeing at the time, and I didn't see a concrete fence post that was below like my mirror's line of sight, and I reversed into it, and it fucking ripped my bump off and everything. I was pissed. Again, I was traveling slow. And then the second time was obviously excluding the P plate time because everyone hits something when they're in your piece. The second time was I was driving to a pub to have dinner with a mate, and Ray was with me as well. Yeah, and I was parking in this car park of the pub, and it's like on an incline like that. But they got like a retaining wall made out of natural rocks. So like big boulders and shit like that. And it's in the middle of the night, and I didn't see that the rock had actually was protruding into the parking spot. And so like I'm crawling in the nav, and I fucking hit the rock with a bull bar. Of course nothing happened, but because it's a bull bar, I mean I didn't hit it hard, it just went boom, and then you just heard the bloody metal vibrate. But it didn't bend or break or even scratch the paint. So yeah, they're the only two things I've like hit. I wouldn't say crash, but definitely banged. And then obviously when you're learning to drive, you hit shit all the time and stuff like that. So, yeah. But I've never lost control of a vehicle and not regained it or not know how to regain it. So yeah. I've been in a few situations where I've done that too.
Fucking hell. One of these days, man.
Well, that's why I got the nav. I just try not to do it because it's expensive fucking fuck ups if you do.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to raid into a friend who we haven't seen online in a while, actually.
All right. Hell yeah.
Richard.
Oh, Richard. Yeah,
Richard.
He hasn't been online for a while now.
We're going to raid into Richard.
Let's see what he's up to.
All right, everybody's. I hope you have a good night and a good day, depending where you are in the world. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll upload this video to YouTube. The last episode of the YouTube videos actually surprisingly had a lot of positive feedback. I'm really, really happy that some people are kind of like discovering the channel and are enjoying it. So that's really good to see. Please offer your support if you're watching this in the VOD. Hit that follow button and go over to my YouTube account and then hit the subscribe button to that. Helps a lot. Really does. Really need to get that support going because it sort of helps us out in terms of our future goals. Because we would really love to do this forever, wouldn't we, Spliffy?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And it would be nice if we could have some cool things to make it more interesting or something like that. I don't know, a proper studio or something. Who knows? But anyway, I hope you have a good day and night again. And let's go raid into Richard, who is always such a lovely person. It's Boogie. See you all.
See ya.